In this video, we're going to learn about the meaning of Mars through the astrological houses. If you are an aspiring astrologer, then this is for you. We're going to discover how your natal Mars position will show your energy, drive and focus as it comes through the astrological houses. So the aim of this video is for you to get a head start on interpreting natal charts. This is one of the basic features of planets in houses, and in this particular case we're talking about Mars through the houses. So in your natal chart, your Mars will be in one of the houses, and we're going to explore each one in turn. This is part of my Starzology Beginners series. My natal Mars is in the 3rd house. If you know where your natal Mars is, write it down in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. When you start to learn astrology, there are 4 main components in a chart: signs, planets, houses and aspects. And you really need to have a good grasp of all of these 4 concepts before you can fully start to interpret charts. And these really are basic things. Now, you don't remember everything. I don't, nobody can. But ultimately you want to be aware of have a good understanding of signs, a good understanding of the meaning of planets, a good understanding of what the houses are, and this is where we step in here now, planets in houses, and particularly now we're talking about Mars in the houses. It just so happens, because of the Mars retrograde period that's coming up soon, that's why I'm doing this particular video now. I also want to take a moment to talk to you about Cusp Creep, and that means that if you have say your Mars is at 15 degrees Gemini and the next house cusp is at 16 degrees Gemini, do not consider, oh, it's near the house boundary, I'll just put Mars into the next house. I don't agree with that. Keep Mars in the house it's in position in as a beginner to learn fully what you're doing. I believe that if you start saying that if a planet's within 5 degrees of a house boundary, we can just push it into the next chart because it's standing close enough. I disagree with this. I think this brings in sloppy astrology, and as a beginner astrologer you need to stay on track, and if Mars is in the 2nd house, put it in the 2nd house and interpret it as such. It's much like when you're learning to drive a car. To start with, you're hanging on for dear life and you stick to the speed limit of 60 miles an hour or whatever your speed limit is, and that's what you do because you're a beginner driver. You absolutely stay with the rules to get the driving done. And if you're a beginner astrology, this is what you need to do. You need to keep your Mars in the house it is. But we all know that as you drive a car 10 years down the road, literally, you're going to be speeding, you're going to be parking where you shouldn't, and eating a hamburger, doing things you're not supposed to be doing when you're driving. But that's the decision that can be made once you have mastered the basics of driving at 60. So if you're an advanced astrologer, of course, you may embrace Cusp Creep, but as a beginner astrologer, my suggestion is you keep your Mars in the right house to start with. You'll find your interpretations are much clearer. Okay, so let's get started. Right then, let's have a closer look at Mars in the houses. And for those of you who don't know, there are actually 12 astrological houses. They are numbered 1 to 12 in this fashion. It's anti-clockwise, and the 1st house always starts like at the 9 o'clock position and it goes round. So these are how the houses are laid out in the charts. So Mars in the 1st house. People with Mars in the 1st house are highly independent and they are keen to self-direct their life. This is someone who will fight for spontaneity within their life. So they are living lives on their own terms, actively participating in their own life. When Mars is in the 2nd house, this person will assertively go after what they want. They actually fight for what they value, and they will spend courageously, which is my way of saying that they perhaps do spend quite a bit when Mars is in the 2nd house, and it's courageously, which is one of those terms that really implies that, gosh, other people are standing by watching in amazement at how much they are spending. But anyway, so that's Mars in the 2nd house. Then if you have Mars in the 3rd house, you will push a local agenda. You are likely to make impulsive declarations and you will fight for or with your neighbours and siblings. That's your brothers and sisters. So that's Mars in the 3rd house. When Mars is in the 4th house, you are handy around the house. You will fight for or with your parents, and you desire a place to call home. When Mars is in the 5th house, you will fight for me time. You are energetic with children and have creative dating and romances. So that sounds pretty exciting. If you have Mars in the 6th house, love pets, fights for good health, and is a hard worker and can at sometimes become a workaholic when Mars is in the 6th house. When Mars is in the 7th house, you are likely to have an assertive mate. You will fight for or with your partner, and life is better with a special someone. Mars in the 8th house, you can be lustful and jealous. You desire intense interactions with people, and you will fight for or over joint finances. When Mars is in the 9th house, you have a restless energy. You will fight for your faith, and you could be meandering and may lose the plot. With Mars in the 10th house, you fight to win at life. You are highly motivated and ambitious and want to make a good impression on those who matter. With Mars in the 11th house, you fight for the underdog. Your male acquaintances will support you, and you have powerful dreams for the future. With Mars in the 12th house, you are secretive, you have impulsive drives, and you may fight the system stealthily. So there we've had a look at Mars through all of the houses. In which house is your Mars? Write your Mars house in the comments below. Right, so there was quite a bit of information there. We were looking at Mars through the houses. You know now where your Mars is, and you've got a couple of interpretations about your drive, energy and focus as Mars is in the houses. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like, or you can share the link with someone who would be interested. You just click share and pick up the link and send it on in a text. And just so you know, I have Mars in the 3rd house. If you want to share with us which house your Mars is in, we'd love to hear about it in the comments below. I'm Alison Price. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.